It is our pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Wim Koenen. He is from Belgium. He is the Partnership Coordinator of EVA, or Ethical Vegetarian Alternative, a Belgian organization promoting a healthy vegetarian lifestyle in a positive and appetizing way since the year 2000. In May 2009, the city of Ghent, inspired by EVA, chose to permanently promote Thursdays as a day for avoiding all animal products. Many cities around the world are following this example, with Sao Paulo in Brazil being the biggest one so far.
Wow, how amazing is that?
Mr. Koenen's wife, Mrs. Jovanka Steele, has also come from Belgium to be with us. She is an EVA volunteer. Let's give a big welcome to Mr. Wim Koenen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Supreme Master Ching Hai.
Hello there.
Hello, everyone. First of all, my wife Jovanka and I would like to thank you for your gracious invitation. And we also bring you warm greetings from Marie-Jeanne Frédéric, who started Belgium's first vegan sanctuary that was awarded your Shining World Compassion Award for her organization, ASBL Fabienne, where both of us volunteer regularly. So thank you. But allow me to turn to EVA, as it's called, the organization which we represent here today. EVA stands for Ethical Vegetarian Alternative, and it's also the Dutch translation of the name Eve, which according to biblical tradition is the first woman and possibly the first vegetarian on earth, judging by her appetite for forbidden fruit. So,
Very
Eva has been active in Belgium since the year 2000, as we just heard, promoting the healthy vegetarian lifestyle in a positive and appetizing way. With minimum means, but with maximum of enthusiasm, Eva has helped to turn its home city of Ghent into a true vegetarian example with 13 vegetarian restaurants, of which at least 3 are completely vegan. So statistically, that comes down to 1 vegetarian restaurant per 18,000 inhabitants, which we think might be a world record. So,
bravo. You are all awarded from my heart.
thank you.
It was just a symbolic, maybe for the head of the organization, but all the members are, of course, appreciated. Yes, appreciated and grateful and awarded. Yes?
Thank you.
Well, we could give 1,000 awards to each of you, but I mean, we're not working for award anyway.
By all means. Thank you. The man has been already addressed, but in 2008, we were able to invite Mr. Rashender Pachauri, who is a Nobel laureate and the IPCC chairman, to Ghent, and we convinced him for the very first time to devote an entire talk to the effects of meat and meat production on climate change.
Bravo.
600 people attended, and interviews appeared in all the major newspapers. But our proudest moment up till now has undoubtedly been the declaration on May 13th of 2009 of Thursday as the official weekly vegetarian day in the city of Ghent. The rationale behind this is that if every woman, man, and child in Ghent stops eating meat or fish 1 day a week, the impact on the climate will be massive, comparable to, let's say, taking 20,000 cars off the streets of Ghent every day of the week.
Wow.
The reaction to our weekly Veggie Day, as we call it, Thursday Veggie Day, has been beyond our own and anyone else's expectations. interviews with the BBC, The Guardian, Time Magazine, Japanese, Russian, German, Italian, French, and Dutch TV specials, and most importantly, appreciation from people all over the world for this initiative, and more questions by phone and email than we could ever possibly answer.
Wow. Congratulations.
We have no ready-made answer to the question, why is this Thursday Veggie Day such a success? But I'll try and venture a guess. First of all, our tone is always positive. We do not judge people for eating meat, but we encourage them to sample, to taste, eat, and keep eating vegetarian food. Which brings me to the fact that no one is ever forced to eat vegetarian. We can only stimulate people's awareness. But the idea of Thursday Veggie Day is based on a motivated choice. So not on pressure, not on guilt, or stories of gloom and doom. In other words, we invite people to try new things by presenting appetizing and 100% vegan recipes in our publications and magazines. Thirdly, we always try to be playful and fun. And as you can see here, most of our publications are full of colorful cartoons, humorous pictures, and content. This one being mainly colorful, not so much funny, as you can see. Fourthly, and perhaps most importantly, we do not focus on one particular reason for eating vegetarian food. We always present 5, not 10, 5 important reasons to eat less meat. And they are, 1, eating vegetarian food will be a treat for your taste buds. You will discover beautiful, rich, and previously unknown taste sensations. Secondly, you're taking care of your own health. The average European eats massive amounts of animal protein. And replacing these partly or completely by vegetable proteins will help you get fitter and helps you to prevent physical problems like heart disease, high cholesterol, etc. Thirdly, you're saving the planet. As we've heard today, meat production is, after energy, the second biggest cause of global warming, an even bigger contributor to global warming than transportation. And according to the FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, it's in the top 2 or 3 causes, as Supreme Master has already said, of every major environmental problem. Fourthly, you're helping other people. For 1 kilogram of beef, you need 7 to 8 kilograms of grain and 15,000 liters of water. And if we use these resources to feed people, more people in the third world would have sufficient food and access to clean water. And fifthly, the fifth reason we present, very simple, you save animals. Because an average person in Belgium eats over 1,800 animals during their lifetime. That's 891 chickens, 42 pigs, 5 cows, 789 fish, 7 sheep, 43 turkeys, and 24 rabbits and other so-called game meats. Now, probably everyone on this planet can be convinced to diminish his or her meat intake when they're presented with one or all of these 5 reasons. Now, a lot of people here and elsewhere are keen to find out the secret to our little success. How did we do it? And is there a magical EVA formula? I'm glad to reveal to you that there's no secret and that the magic formula is simply consists of hard work, a positive outlook on life, and a bunch of dedicated staff and volunteers who have one thing in common: they're willing to give up a bit or a whole lot of spare time for a wonderful and worthy cause. Now, how did we do all this? This is how we went about it. In 2008, we started with publishing a small booklet, Donderdag Veggie Dag, Thursday Veggie Day. It's a guide for people who want to try and have one vegetarian day a week. So our original 20,000 copies were supposed to last for 2 years, but thanks to the huge success of Thursday Veggie Day, we recently ordered 30,000 more copies.
Wow.
Our most important task was then to convince restaurants to become more vegetarian and to add more vegetarian options to their menus. At this moment, I'm very proud to say that in our small town of 240,000 inhabitants, more than 100 restaurants, diners, and snack bars offer at least one wholesome and nice-tasting vegetarian meal on their menu. In
Wow.
all those places, thank you.
Very proud of you. We're very proud of you.
I didn't do it myself, but thank you very much. It's,
All of you.
I thank all my colleagues. Thank you. So all those places, all those 100 restaurants, we put on a vegetarian street map of Ghent. So you can see it here. So that everyone who visits Ghent can easily find their way to a restaurant of their taste. At present, almost 100,000 of these maps have been distributed, and we recently had another reprint due to the incessantly popular demand.
Wow.
Since May of 2009, thanks to the cooperation of the Ghent City Council, 2 city cafeterias where a lot of civil servants have their lunch have started to serve an extra special vegetarian meal on Thursdays. And from October 1st, 2009, World Vegetarian Day onwards, the children's lunch in Ghent's 35 city schools will be vegetarian every Thursday. The campaign to launch Vegetarian Thursday in schools, it features Little Red Riding Hood, who's relieved because she doesn't have to be afraid of the wolf. On Thursday, he's simply eating carrots.
Very smart. Funny.
We're very proud of everything we achieved with this campaign, and we're proud that 3 other important Belgian cities, Hasselt and Mechelen, and now also Aalst, have asked us to help them with their own Thursday Veggie Day. But we're also proud, and we're humbled by the reaction in other cities around the world. Sao Paulo, as it's been said, one of the biggest cities in the world with more than 15 million inhabitants, they have declared Monday as their Veggie Day. And we hope it becomes the first in a series of cities around the world to follow the example of Ghent. We continue to do our job in the firm belief that being vegetarian is one of the most powerful things an individual can do to change the world. Through eating vegetarian, one improves one's health, the health of the planet, and the fate of the animals. But most of all, the individual person changes, allowing him or herself to open their heart to others. Veganism is perhaps the single most important step towards a new world in which we can all live in peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Bravo. We like your group. Bravo, bravo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have also a question for you.
Oh, please.
As a small organization, we've accomplished more than we could dream of in such a short amount of time.
That's right.
And as I've said, we rely on a positive attitude, creativity, a lot of volunteers. But our organization, with a small staff of only 5 people, is under intense pressure to help and advise more people and organizations than it can realistically handle. What do you think we can do to further develop our organization and spread our message to an increasingly larger audience?
Oh, you ask me. I was going to join your group, but now you ask me. Hi, Mr. Cohen. Oh, I'm so proud of you guys, and thank you ever so much. God bless you so much. When there is a will, there is a way, Mr. Cohen. I hope your group are doing fine under pressure, although I can imagine how heavy a burden it is now. Success is a burden. Yeah, I know all that. But nevertheless, we have to continue, eh? We have no other choice. We must. Yes. I am also in deficit of staff. Yes? We are in the same boat, Mr. Cohen. Yes? No matter how many staff I have, no matter how many volunteers I have, I always feel we don't have enough people. Yes? And I myself could do with like what the Kuan Yin Bodhisattva does, like 10,000 eyes, 10,000 arms. Yes? But unfortunately, it doesn't grow on my body. Now, no matter what, we just have to do, Mr. Cohen. Yes? But thank you, all of you guys, the volunteer and the staff, for all the hard work, all the pressure that you undergo to spread the VEG trend, and in such a positive way. I'm so impressed, and I'm so happy, truly. It was really funny, smart, and positive, and successful. Maybe everyone should learn a little bit from this EVA program. So thank you for showing people this exciting, compassionate way of life and helping countless loving, defenseless animals as well. We are going in the same direction, and of course we are having the same problems. Now you know the problems. I don't have to tell you, you know my problems by now. Everyone who is working to better the environment or the welfare of all beings on this planet understand your problem. Believe me, they understand more than 100%. Whatever it is, we have to do it. Yes, but your organization does excellent work anyway. No wonder you are inundated with requests from all over for your advice and services. Same with us. I wish I could go shake hands to everyone that asks me questions and encourage us or, support us and hug them in person. But this is impossible. Even God comes down here, He couldn't do it. That's why we have to do it, huh? Yes. He gave us the push, the power, and the mean and the ways somehow. And then we will do it. And you will just pray. Yes, I like your group very much. Whatever it is, yeah. I really like your group, the way you do it. It's wonderful. I like your group so much. I guess we just have to do our best, huh? As they say, from small beginning come great things. Many, many small little groups with great ideal have been in the historical record, yes, of success. So you're just one of them, and you may be the best of them. You may be one of the best. From what I understand, your group, EVA, Ethical Vegetarian Alternative, is very, very creative, respected, smart, and successful in promoting the vegetarian lifestyle to the mainstream world. And you are smart, because you make a smaller goal, achievable goal, like one day a week. My heart is just burning, burning with pain and sorrow for the animals and for the spiritual degrade of our planet. I don't know how to advise you because I'm also in the same situation. Namely, we're always short of staff, we're always short of volunteer, we're always short of time, and the world always changes too slow for my patience. But we just have to accept whatever we can do. And we do the priority. And we do the most urgent task first. And we do what we can, the best first. And from there, it's the stepping stones for us to go further. I'm sure you and your staff know what it is to do. The entire world now at least knows about your Thursday Veggie campaign. Everybody knows. And that is really a very, very encouraging sign and a motivation for everybody, you know? Yes. Now it is even made into an official program for the city of Ghent. It's a shining, small example, like a lamp that lit the whole room up. Yes? No matter how dark it has been for 1,000 years, just one lamp is will lit up. And then slowly the more rooms will be lit up. Just like you have mentioned, there's some more cities already beginning to ask for your help to start the same Thursday Veggie program. So you can ask our association member in where your country is, yes, if they can help you in any way, okay? Yes, we are doing our best also, but if we have more chance to help you, we would be willing to. Please continue, no matter how hard it is, and please pray every minute that you have a chance. Please pray, because this is a power that can help you to overcome all the difficulty and the setback and the physical exhaustion also. Yes? Praying. Yes, praying or meditation is the same kind of contemplation that will help us to walk forward. Yes, with more inner strength. Yes, and outer radiance that convince others. Yes, and it will radiate love from your conviction and your good-hearted intention. I am so happy that even the city council and the deputy mayor are supported by celebrities and well publicized by international media. Even in BBC, in UK and CNN and The Time in North America. My God, wow. Other cities in Belgium and groups in Germany, UK, etc., etc. They approach you to find out how you did it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you. My God, God bless you so much. God planted you there. God sent you here to do this work. So we just have to do it, whether we are short or long of staff, huh? Thank you so much. You'll be very busy already, and you still take time to come here to share your opinions and encouragement with us. You are just wonderful. I love you so much. I love you, your group. I love all of you, the volunteer and everybody. That's all I can say. Get more volunteer, grab them on the street, to restaurant, whatever you can. Now try. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes. We do what we can. Okay? And all my love to you. All of you.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. Thank you.
Bless you. Bless. And by the way, you're good looking also outside. Huh? You're also handsome outside. Huh? Not only inside. If that helps, yeah, to to make you work further, encourage, and feel a little bit more cheerful. Thank you. Anyway, you, your wife, and the rest of the company, huh?
Thank you. Our final speaker today is Mr. John Carmody. He has come all the way from Ireland, where he founded the Animal Rights Action Network, or ARAN. This organization is the most successful animal rights group in Ireland, and he is responsible for overseeing all the activities of the organization across Ireland, including fundraising, organizing volunteers, campaign work, education, and programs. We extend a heartfelt welcome to John. We are proud to have you here.
Yes, we are.
Well, hello, Supreme Master. How are you? I was waiting for this for a long time.
Hello.
Well, I finally got it. Okay, well, I just want to say thank you very much for having me here today. Like your colleague has just said there, I'm head of the animal advocacy group, the Animal Rights Action Network, and we're based in Ireland. And what we do is we work to educate and promote a cruelty-free, compassionate and kind lifestyle. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon, and like I said, I'm excited that I've been given an opportunity to express my delight and appreciation for your new book, The Noble Wilds. When I first learned about your book launch, I immediately jumped at the opportunity to come here today, not only to talk about all the wonderful work your organisation is truly doing, but also to the work your organisation is doing across the globe to help animals, promote veganism and to reverse the danger of climate change. But because I have wanted to meet you for quite some time, so I am grateful that I've been given an opportunity to speak today. In Ireland, I formed the Animal Rights Action Network when I was just 16 years of age.
Oh,
Yeah, it was almost 12 or 13 years ago. My life changed after I seen images of Canada's seal hunt on the front cover of an Irish newspaper. And I knew that I had to do something to help stop that cruelty I'd observed in a morning newspaper. It changed my life forever. Since then, I've led the Animal Rights Action Network into becoming Ireland's largest and most respected animal protection group there is in the country. From the beginning, Aaron has had an enormous amount of positive achievements in Ireland. Just recently, we've convinced one of the top department stores in the country to go for free. And we also helped to persuade the Irish government to support the EU trade ban on the Canadian seal products into Europe, which was a huge achievement. And more good news for you as well, Master Ching Hai, is that Ireland has just recently said that they're going to ban fur farming in Ireland within 3 years. And stag hunting is also going to be banned too, which is a huge, huge achievement.
indeed, indeed. Congratulations.
Really good.
Very happy to know.
One of our priorities Aaron focuses on, we also reach out to children and students nationwide, educating them about cruelty and critical situations facing animals today. And of course, helping them to know that there is a kinder, more compassionate way of living. And thankfully, we are seeing a genuine, huge change in attitudes in Irish people. Already, we are seeing a large increase in the amount of people being vegetarian in Ireland, and those who were already vegetarian are now opting for the vegan diet. Our organisation is also seeing a change in the way people view animals. Nowadays, there is far more press coverage talking about cruelty to animals, more than whatever I can remember since I formed the organisation. Today we receive calls almost weekly from Irish radio stations requesting interviews from Aaron and national newspapers demanding comment on animal issues, which is really good too. This is just a snapshot of what's really happening. And although we are working hard to reverse an age-old way of thinking about animals, Animal Rights Action Network is devoted to moving heaven and earth to help stop the cruelty and protect our animal friends on this planet. When I read your book, The Noble Wilds, I could not help to be taken in by your message of being kind to animals. Much of what you say and convey makes so much sense. What I like about your book was that you impart many touching stories that are bound to touch the hardest of hearts and to reach out to those who have a heart. In the Noble Wilds book, you enlightened the reader about a female goat and how when she became pregnant, ran away from her human caretaker. This loving little mother goat telepathically told you that she was concerned for the lives of her unborn babies, as she feared her human caretaker would eat her baby goats after they were born. Thanks to your intervention, the story was a happy ending. I now realise that animals completely understand the thoughts and intentions of humans around them. Your book makes sense and makes the case that we as humans should end our view that animals are nothing more than commodities and start realising that they are just like us, capable of feeling pain, fear, suffering, loneliness, sadness and joy. It was great to see the pictures of animal families living their lives in peace and tranquility, which always led me to ask a question: what do animals really want? And I think my answer is they just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
For me, I believe that animals have nothing but their lives and their skins, and even at that, there are people out there who want to take those from them. But your book truly did bring me comfort whilst reading it. I received a great sense of peace reading your touching stories. I was taken in by the beautiful pictures of animals who share our planet. I've no doubt that anyone who reads this book will find it hard to put down. Here I am today, lucky enough to tell you all how grateful I am for all the work your great organisation contributes across the country. I have been lucky to see firsthand how devoted and hardworking Supreme Master your Irish Centre really and truly is. They do so much good work. Much of the work Animal Rights Action Network does in Ireland would not be possible if it was not for the kind, support we receive from your Irish Centre. So I'm so grateful that, they're lending out and helping us do so much more. As we go forward, we know that there is quite an amount of work that still needs to be done. In the coming weeks, we've got the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference, which will generally give world leaders a real chance to make positive change to help the climate. It's also a wake-up call to all those who tend to know that when they sit down to dinner, that their meal may very well have come from an innocent animal who suffered to be that person's steak or ham sandwich, and that eating meat is known to be far more deadly to the Earth's climate than pretty much any other industry on the face of this planet to have connections with greenhouse emissions. And finally, my dream is to see this world reverse all the suffering, all the cruelty, all the exploitation, and to start working towards a society that respects everyone, including our animal friends. I leave you with a quote from Henry James, and that quote is, "There is 3 things in human life that are important. 1 is to be kind, the 2nd is to be kind, and the 3rd is to be kind." Thank you.
Yes.
I've got just 2 questions here for you two. One is, do you think the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference that is coming up will make it a priority to stop the destruction of the world's tropical forests, which in turn can help climate change? And secondly, in terms of the world being vegan or vegetarian and the importance of such, what do you think will most inspire or encourage people across the country to adopt this important diet in order to avert a global crisis?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Kamodi, thanks for coming. And thanks for sharing with us all this positive change in your great country. Ireland seemed to be the first in many things, huh?
Yes.
Even stop smoking. Yes. In the first in a record of organic farming, etc. Huh? You see, it does have an effect. All your effort, yes. And just now, Mr. Koinen and his wife has reported to us about their success, Eva, in Ghent City. Because right after the Ghent City declare Thursday is meat-free day, for example, then many other also starting similar meatless programs like Sao Paulo, Brazil, and the mayors of many cities like Hsinchu of Taiwan, Santiago, Philippines are encouraging their citizens to be veg for the planet. We also have the famous vegetarian celebrities using their fame and name to promote the compassionate way of life. And according to my inner meditative knowledge, we have at least more than 40% of the world population now are vegetarian or vegan. I mean, less cruelty, yes? Let me think. We have almost 50% or something now. Wow, really? I can't hardly believe it.
That's even better.
Oh, God, thanks, heaven. Yes. Thanks, heaven. Yes. That counted also those who are part-time vegetarians, but nevertheless, it's already very encouraging sign. Yeah? Put all together, we have like 50%. My God. Okay. And more schools are giving vegetarian and vegan options for lunches. Yes. Like in the US, since 2003, 40% more schools now offer regular vegetarian meals. That is 2 out of 3 schools offer regular vegetarian meals. Isn't that a good sign? Yeah?
That's great.
It is great. But of course, it's not enough to save the planet, no? Of course, it's not enough. Nevertheless, we continue, okay? We continue and pray. And regarding your question, I also wish that the leaders of the world at Copenhagen will really make it clear this time what is the priority and what is the most urgent decision to make. and what is really not. So I really pray all the divine power to enlighten them, to wake them up, because we need them to make good decisions to save our planet. Truly, the planet also is in their hand. They are that powerful. I hope they do realize the power they possess, and I hope they realize the consequences of not using that power for a noble cause, because that will be a disaster for them in thousands or millions of years to come. Because of the law of as you sow, so shall you reap. Because of the law of cause and retribution. Because of the law of karma. You are right, sir. Saving the world's tropical forest, the lungs of the earth, is one of the very important priorities. Because when the tropical rainforests are destroyed, there are many frightening side effects. It's not just the permanent changes to the world's temperature, rainfall, and weather patterns which the forests regulate. It's not just about the millions of people who might lose their livelihoods that depend on the forest. There is more to it than that. There is the extinction of plants and animal species that is 100 times faster than what is natural. And it ruins our ecosystems. And there's also the rainforests themselves. This is important. The rainforests themselves normally is our protectors. But as the climate gets warmer, instead of absorbing CO2 to protect our planet climate, they will be emitting back CO2 as well. And that will be harmful to us. By harming the rainforest, by destroying the planet, by raising animals, we are turning our protector, which is the rainforest, into a harmful agent. They will not be helping us. They will not be helping us, the rainforest, if the climate gets warmer. But instead, they worsen. They will be worsening the global warming problem because they cannot absorb the CO2, but they will release all the CO2 that is already contained in their kingdom. Now, we need to look at the main reason why there is deforestation. Yes, we all know there is a whole industry behind it in most of the cases, namely the livestock industry. For example, 91% of the Amazon deforested since 1970 was used for what? For grazing pasture, meaning that the number one reason for deforestation of the Amazon, which is the greatest lung of our planet, is to raise cattle. And the second biggest reason also for cattle. They grow the soil to feed the cattle, and of course other animals as well. By the way, yes, NASA reported that once the forest is cleared for pasture or feed crops, the soil itself becomes a large source of emitting carbon. The soil itself even. So not only that, the fires that burn down the trees also release a lot of carbon dioxide, CO2. The Amazon rainforest alone contains more carbon dioxide than 10 years' worth of all human-produced greenhouse gases. Plus, when we burn the forest, we release black carbon, which are particles of soot that trap 680 times the heat of the same amount of CO2. Now, blame whom? Don't bother blaming CO2.
Yeah.
Especially because they are black. You know, these soot from the burnt black rainforest, they hold a lot of heat. According to researchers in Brazil, 60% of the black carbon measured at the Antarctic Peninsula came from burning the rainforest in Brazil for livestock raising. So we have to put the blame, the finger on the right spot. Yeah? I hope the Copenhagen leaders understand where to put their finger, not just talking around the subject and try to avoid the burning spot, which is livestock raising, which is animal production. Animals industry are number one killer of all killers on this planet. Forget about the war, forget terrorism. They are just small numbers compared to meat industry. Meat industry is the number one killer, is the number one murderer, and the legal murderer. And we endorse it. We accept it. This is all our wrongdoing, is all our fault. If the planet is to be gone forever, we cannot blame anything else, anyone else except ourselves. If we don't do anything at all to change this, see? Okay, furthermore, it's not only the Amazon. NASA states that the single biggest direct cause of tropical deforestation is livestock raising land. The livestock sector is the single largest human use of land. We have only 30% of land that cover the earth. The rest is 70% is water, yes? It's ocean. We have only 30% of land. And of that precious 30%, 1/3 of it is used not for our true survival, but for livestock pasture or growing tons of grains for animal feed, or to produce a few pieces of meat and you swallow it in 2 seconds. And that few seconds will bring you tons of sickness, disease, suffering, sorrow for yourself also. Even if we don't have compassion for the animals, please do have compassion for ourselves. Do not eat poison and continue to suffer more in the hospital with all kind of treatment related to it. In fact, we are losing 55 square meters of rainforest for every beef hamburger patty. Every little beef hamburger patty that costs 55 square meters. This is a pity because we have better, more delicious, more nutritious, more healthy and safe alternatives to hamburgers to nourish ourselves anyway. How can we, as very intelligent human beings, do this to ourselves? Not to talk about the cruelty that we committed to animals, which degrade us to this level. I am so sorry to have offended you. But I also take responsibility as a human being here on this planet for this, for all the things that I have not known before, for all the things that I am doing with you, I have been doing with you in this respect. So please do forgive me for being straight, honest, and just a fact, okay? This is not to mention that besides destroying our precious forest, livestock farms also contaminate or even completely kill our water systems. They degrade once a fertile soil, they destroy our biodiversity, and they release vast amounts of extremely dangerous methane and nitrous oxide. And what you call that hydrogen sulfide as well, yeah? Which are heating up the planet now 100 times, 300 times more than carbon dioxide. So please keep your airplane, keep your car, keep your train, keep your ship, and leave them alone for the time being. Just take out the meat from our diet and stop blaming the CO2 for every problem of global warming on our planet. We are to be blamed. The meat industry is to be blamed. The meat industry is the one we have to focus on to stop, to abolish, to stop the climate change, and to stop the waste of the forest and land. Stop talking around the subject. Talk to the point. Meat industry must stop. Apart from destroying our planet, it is destroying our human quality. It is destroying our compassionate nature. It is destroying the spark of God, the part of God that we belong to. We must stop the livestock industry. I hope the leader of the Copenhagen conference will do this. Otherwise, I don't know what else to say anymore. If they won't do this, I don't know what else to say anymore. I really will be speechless. Stop the livestock industry. That would be the most effective way to halt global warming and restore our planet. It would save our precious forests, which take decades to grow, and create more natural forests that we need to reduce global warming. Without our lungs, we cannot survive. So Prince Charles has lately been highly active about climate change, and particularly about protecting the tropical rainforest. He said to the European Parliament, "The lives of billions of people depend on your response, and none of us will be forgiven by our children and grandchildren if we falter and fail." I am sorry to say, but I cannot even guarantee that our grandchildren will have a chance to be born to say that. If the Copenhagen climate change conference leader don't agree together to stop the meat industry, talk direct to the subject, not talk around it. It's really that urgent. I pray the world leaders will awaken to this reality immediately and act properly now, even before the Copenhagen meeting in December. I could talk forever, but only the main point is that we must stop the meat industry. That's all there is.
European Parliament supports reducing meat to lower greenhouse gases.
Roll call vote. Vote is now open.
Reduce your meat consumption or stop eating meat totally.
During discussions on greenhouse gas reduction goals, the Climate Committee of the European Parliament officially recognized livestock's contribution to global warming and recommended a reduction of subsidies to the livestock industry to curb methane.
The European Parliament has adopted its own position on climate change as an institution. And as a Vice President, one of the proposals I have made is in line with your own, which is that we should eat far less meat, because that's one of the major sources of greenhouse gases.
Please eat less meat, and let's make taxes on meat. That's definitely one of the issues we're talking about. I'd like to tell people what the cost is of eating meat for the environment worldwide.
My name is Jens Holm. I'm a member of the European Parliament. Please, be veg, go green to save the planet.
Your second question that you asked, what will most inspire or encourage people to adopt a vegetarian or vegan diet to avert global crisis? How about that we still have our planet? How about that we still can live here? How about that we don't have sickness again? How about that our children will be healthy, beautiful, intelligent, loving and kind? We all wish our children to grow up intelligent, loving, and kind. But what do we teach them from beginning of their very fragile life? Huh? What do we teach them? We push the symbol of violence into their mouth. Even if they spit it out, we force to put it back in again until they get used to it. Violence is a part of our life up to now. Violence is what we teach our children, and we expect them to be loving and kind. Not only violence, that piece of meat or fish or animals, stuff that we try to stuff into our children, unaware stomach, that also decrease their intelligence, decrease their loving quality, humanity. So we expect our children to be the best, and we give them the worst. The worst of all the worst is meat diet. Okay? So, how about promise that our children will be what we expect them to be with our meat diet? Intelligent, loving, and kind, and noble being. See? And how about promise of a repair planet with lush green forests thriving from horizon to horizon, clear rivers, clean stream, healthy living ocean, pure water to drink, without having to put chlorine or any chemical into it to even destroy our health further. How about all that picture of paradise? If we just put down that piece of meat and fish and dairy, whatever the animal piece that we want to put in our mouth. How about clean our system? Make it healthy, alive, and not as a graveyard. You know, sometimes if we go through a graveyard, we feel so scared, right? As a kid, I was scared. How about you? Any of you scared when you walk through the cemetery, the graveyard at night, or even daytime? Yes. Yes, okay. Imagine you yourself at the graveyard. Isn't that scary?
Scary. Very.
Yeah, and day in, day out, 24 hours a day, graveyard you carry with you. And so, okay, we talk more positive like Eva do, okay? Okay, we picture, we show them, we invoke the imagination of such a revitalized and calm environment, healthy world. All the inhabitants will live together in peace and harmony. I know we are reciting that since time immemorial, but we have to do it now. We have to realize the harmony and peace, not just talk about it. We will live in peace and harmony as we never did before. Because in a vegan world, we think differently, we act differently, we live differently, we treat each other differently. Our mind functions differently, our heart feels differently, our intelligence activated differently. There's no more reason that we can see for animals to fear humans. There's no more reason to make anyone suffer. For animals and humans alike, yeah? We will see no reason. We will see only reason to love, to protect, and help each other. And no more grounds for humans to fear one another, because everyone will honor life and protect both theirs and others' life. Simply by being vegan, your life will change. Your thinking will change. The whole being will change. Believe me, I know it, because I've done it. You will change completely. You will love yourself more. You will have more self-respect, and you'll be glad that you walk the noble way of compassionate vegan diet. Without this deep-seated fear for one another or from the animal, there will be only love, peace, both with animals and humans. The wise sages and thinkers like Pythagoras, said, "For as long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other." And Leo Tolstoy, the famous Russian author that every one of us know, also said, "As long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields." It is like that, truly like that. In the USA, for example, the FBI, Federal Bureau of Intelligence, the famous FBI of America, yes, they officially considers animal cruelty as part of how much a criminal is a threat to society. Many serial killers in their childhood tortured and abused animals. They practice this first on the animals and later on humans. You see? And so the opposite will be true. Yes? If we are kind and loving to animals, we will also be even more kind, more loving to our human companion or human co-inhabitants. Without slaughterhouses, we won't participate in the habit of killing or even having the subconscious participation of the habit of killing. The habit of oppressing the weak and the defenseless and innocent just for our palate. It is really below our dignity. Our minds won't be in conflict so much between our wish to be compassionate, to be loving and peaceful, and our behavior that speaks louder than our words, the opposite. And further, with no weapons, no armies for battles, only time and energy and the financial power remaining for constructive works to better our society. Imagine what a society that would be. Of course, it's a heaven on earth. We will have the means and the fearless heart to solve poverty and hunger, which themselves are in many ways a product of meat eating. We will live in beauty and health and so much joy. The whole atmosphere will be brimming with happiness like a real paradise. If we become vegan, such a simple, easy step, we don't just win our beautiful planet back, we stand to gain an even more beautiful, wonderful, elevated world. Because the vegan lifestyle carries such a powerful energy, all positive, all loving, all constructive, all blessing, all intelligence, that could melt all the negative energy away, destroy it forever, and neutralize the destructive forces in our environment and in our lives in the shortest time that you could imagine. And then replace them with constructive energy and peaceful vibrations. It will be just like the difference between walking into a slaughterhouse and into a vegan cafe, which you could try yourself to compare the atmosphere and the feeling. You will see what I mean. Actually, there is also very strong motivation for people to be vegan when they see the animal cruelty that occurs with their own eyes, the horrors that take place behind the factory farm, behind the walls of the massacre house door. I don't call it slaughterhouse, I call it massacre house. Behind the door of those massacre house, there's a horrifying actions going on. Or if they go on the massacring fishing boat, or the bloody whaling boat, to witness it for themselves, I wonder how anybody could ever do this for a living. But of course, they have been cheated into doing that. We have all been cheated into doing the things that we should have never done, should have never even imagined, because our hearts are originally full of compassion and love, but we just ignore our feeling. If you ever wonder if hell exists, Just go into those massacre house or the boat that kills the whales and go to the seals massacring areas. Go there to find hell. Then you believe that hell will exist. Our original God nature is compassion and love. I repeat again and again and again. You are not that. You are compassion. You are love incarnate. Please return to it. So when we force ourselves to watch the videos of animal cruelty, which, by the way, are purposefully hidden from us for a reason, so that we don't know, we flinch when we watch these cruelty, even on video, or even when we hear a report about it. Just like before we heard one of our brothers report about the cruelty everywhere. We flinch, we cringe, we look away, we cry, or we scream. We have nightmare. We cannot bear to see the cow, the pig, the chicken's throat puncture or slit, so they bleed to death. And more gruesome, unimaginable way of torturing animals. Or the force fed of a foie gras goose, or purposeful underfeeding of a baby veal calf, or confining him so that he has to keep his tender meat, that he could not even move his body for the rest of his tender short life. Or the gruesome fate of baby chickens, where the females have their tender beaks cut off while hanging upside down, and males are grind alive or suffocated to death. Or the non-stop misery or panic of the pigs, who are so intelligent and loving and clean, yet forced to stand knee-deep in their own filth and choking on their own toxic fumes of their own waste and screaming out of madness. Or the sheep with the broken bones from being transported thousands of miles to massacre house. We look away because it's not our nature to want to be hurt, nor it is our nature to inflict pain and agony or sheer terror on others. Health is also another very strong motivator that we can show other people to encourage them and inspire them. In a vegan world, there would be no more sad news about someone's child dying or brain damage or paralysis due to E. coli, the deadly bacteria, which originally almost always comes from farmed animals. There would be no more heartache due to deadly swine flu pandemic, or mad cow disease, cancer, diabetes, strokes and heart attacks, salmonella, Ebola, etc., etc. Even AIDS, that we fear so much, is originally also from hunting animals to eat. Animal diseases from the horrid, filthy livestock raising environment are responsible for 75% of all the emerging infectious human diseases. And they are often contracted by us hunting after the animals or forcing them to stay in a crowded, filthy place to be massacred for us to eat. This is not the way God intended for us to live with our co-inhabitants. This is not the way we should behave as children of God. We have been really deluded into doing all this and degrading ourselves thus and to this level. The animals are our helpers, our friends, and heaven's beloved. I hope whatever most motivates us, we change and quick. We are running out of time anyway. If we wait too long, I'm afraid we won't be left with a choice. If we want ourselves and our children to survive, now we still have a choice. But if we wait too long, I'm sorry, maybe no more choice. Thank you, Mr. Kamori. I know I talk a lot, but I can never talk enough. Yes.
Thank you, Supreme Master, and thank you for all that you do. Thanks.
Thank you for being such a caring animal activist.
Vegetarianism in religion.
The Baha'i Faith. Regarding the eating of animal flesh and abstinence therefrom, know thou of a certainty that, in the beginning of creation, God determined the food of every living being, and to eat contrary to that determination is not approved. Selections from the Baha'i writings of some aspects of health and healing.
Buddhism. All meats eaten by living beings are of their own relatives. Lankavatara Sutra. Also, after the birth of the baby, care must be exercised not to kill any animal in order to feed the mother with meaty delicacies, and not to assemble many relatives to drink liquor or to eat meat, because at the difficult time of birth there are innumerable evil demons, monsters, and goblins who want to consume the smelly blood. By ignorantly and adversely resorting to the killing of animals for consumption, they bring down curses upon themselves, which are detrimental to both the mother and the baby. Ksitigarbha Sutra. Be careful during the days immediately after someone's death, not killing or destroying, or creating evil karma by worshipping or offering sacrifice to demons and deities, because such killing and slaughtering committed, or such worship performed, or such sacrifice offered, would not have even an iota of force to benefit the dead, but would entwine even more sinful karma into previous karma, making it even deeper and more serious. Thus, delay his rebirth to a good state. Karma means retribution. Ksitigarbha Sutra.
Gaudai. The most important thing is to stop killing, because animals also have souls and understand like humans. If we kill and eat them, then we owe them a blood debt. Teachings of the Saints.
Christianity. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats, but God shall destroy both it and them. Holy Bible.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. Holy Bible.
Confucianism. All men have a mind which cannot bear to see the sufferings of others. The superior man, having seen the animals alive, cannot bear to see them die. Having heard their dying cries, he cannot bear to eat their flesh. Mencius. Essenes.
I am come to end the sacrifices and feasts of blood, and if ye cease not offering and eating of flesh and blood, the wrath of God shall not cease from you. Gospel of the Holy 12.
Hinduism. Since you cannot bring killed animals back to life, you are responsible for killing them. Therefore, you are going to hell. There is no way for your deliverance. Adalila.
He who desires to augment his own flesh by eating the flesh of other creatures lives in misery in whatever species he may take his birth. Mahabharata anew.
Islam. Allah will not give mercy to anyone except those who give mercy to other creatures. Hadith.
Do not allow your stomachs to become graveyards of animals. Hadith.
Jainism. A true monk should not accept such food and drink as has been specially prepared for him involving the slaughter of living beings. Sutrakatanga.
Judaism. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. Holy Bible. Blood meaning flesh.
Sikhism. Those mortals who consume marijuana, flesh, and wine, no matter what pilgrimages, fasts, and rituals they follow, they will all go to hell. Guru Granth Sahib.
Taoism. Do not go into the mountain to catch birds and nets, nor to the water to poison fishes and minnows. Do not butcher the ox that plows your field. Tract of the Quiet Way.
Tibetan Buddhism. The offering to the deities of meat obtained by killing animate beings is like offering a mother the flesh of her own child, and this is a grievous failure, the supreme path of discipleship.
Zoroastrianism. Those plants I, Ahura Mazda, or God, rain down upon the earth to bring food to the faithful and fodder to the beneficent cow. Avesta.
Everybody knows that vegetarian diet is good for health and to save the planet. They will be awakening their own great, compassionate, loving self-nature, and then their level of consciousness will rise up automatically, and they will understand more than they ever did, and they'll be closer to heaven than what they are right now.
Thank you, Supreme Master Ching Hai, for your enlightening response to many interesting questions. And thank you, our special VIP guests, for making this question and answer session such a special occasion. It has been a fascinating seminar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. And very emotional one, huh? Very heart-wrenching also, some part.
Yes, indeed.
Truly.
Supreme Master, before we conclude today, we would like to present you with a delicious vegan cake to celebrate this auspicious and most enlightening event.
Sure. They give me a knife here. I'm ready. Very good idea. Very good idea that we should show people to use a knife just to cut vegan cake. Very good idea. Wonderful. Okay, I'm ready. Shall we do it now?
Okay.
Wow. Yum, yum, yum. Delicious, delicious. You've been working hard and getting up early, hey? Okay, now? All right. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Very good. Okay, good appetite. I wish I am there, huh? It looks so delicious.
Thank you so much, Master, for your time.
Thanks to you.
And we appreciate your presence with us today. And we sincerely wish you the greatest success in spreading love and compassion for a glorious future around the planet.
Thank you.
May your newly released book serve to contribute to this success.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and viewers around the globe, thank you for sharing in this magnificent evening. Remember to spread the message to be vegan to save the planet. Be veg,
go green, save the planet. Yeah.
As one world together, we can make it.
Heaven's blessing and love with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, the organizer. Thanks to the Frankfurt Book Fair organizer that allowing us to have this meeting today. And thanks to all the speakers and all the distinguished audience. Thank you all. And I wish you the best in this noble endeavor. Please help us. We help each other to save the planet and to save our children and save the animals. Thank you ever so much. Bless you all. God bless you all.
To hear the stories of Supreme Master Ching Hai and how she feels about, climate change and the destruction of the world's rainforests and everything that is happening to animals today too. So I was really excited to be here and just to even listen to what she had to say about the problems facing the planet today, and just to see, what people around the world are doing to help, reverse climate change, be vegetarian, be vegan, and the work we're all doing to educate people to make a difference and to reverse the cycle of cruelty to animals and climate change. The book was really exciting actually. Lots of really nice pictures of animals, their mammies, daddies and their babies, chickens, pigs, nearly every animal you can possibly think of is in the book. I've read through all her stories, and they're very touching stories as well, and I think she sends a very important message throughout the book that even though animals look different than us, they're no more different, when they're capable of experiencing fear, pain, suffering, loneliness, anger, joy. There's a very strong message in there that, animals just like us have feelings too. Hi, I'm John Carmody of the Animal Rights Action Network. Be veg, be green and save the planet.
Hello. Jovanka, could you please tell us about your impressions about this conference?
I was really, really surprised and really impressed. It was really well organized and really heartfelt, and I cried. I didn't expect to see Supreme Master cry. She did, I did, everyone did, but it was beautiful, and I think everybody here learned a little bit. It also gave at least everyone in this room and maybe millions of people watching a real feeling of there's something going on and we can make it work, and it's positive. My message for the people around the world is that, you are what you eat. And if there's a way to eat and be kind, why not do it? It's better for the environment to eat vegetarian. It's better in every possible way. Lower risk of heart disease, lower risk of cancer, everything. Hi, I'm Jovanka Steele from Ghent in Belgium. Be veg, go green, save the planet.